A package leaves a warehouse in China. It's small, about 15 by 20 centimeters, weighing just a kilo. The label reads dog food, but inside is a fine white powder, the key ingredient for one of the deadliest drugs on Earth, fentanyl. Cheaper than heroin and nearly 50 times stronger, even this small amount could be lethal. In the United States, fentanyl is now the leading cause of death for adults under 50, surpassing cancer, heart disease, and car accidents. Yet its ingredients move across borders with ease, shipped, sorted, and delivered like an everyday online order. Behind this lies a billion-dollar network driven by cartels, powered by global trade, and made possible by weak regulations. This is the story of how fentanyl is trafficked. This is fentanyl. Fentanyl has been used in medicine since the 1960s, primarily as a painkiller and anesthetic. Its strength is staggering, around 100 times more powerful than morphine and 50 times stronger than heroin. And it is highly addictive. Over the past 15 years, the illegal fentanyl trade in the US has fueled a devastating synthetic opioid crisis. The impact is felt nationwide, with the biggest danger being its extreme lethality. In recent years, fentanyl-related overdose deaths have skyrocketed. In 2023 alone, about 75,000 people lost their lives. Between 1999 and 2023, fentanyl and other synthetic opioids claimed nearly 500,000 American lives. One of the key reasons behind this staggering death toll is a practice known as lacing. Dealers deliberately mix fentanyl into other street drugs, like heroin, to stretch their supply and maximize profits. Because fentanyl is so powerful, even tiny amounts can get users hooked faster, but it also makes overdoses far more likely, especially since many don't realize what they're actually taking. For traffickers, fentanyl has another huge advantage. It's synthetic. Unlike heroin, it doesn't require vast poppy fields, just a lab and some basic ingredients. It's cheap, easy to produce, and immensely profitable. In recent years, Mexican cartels have largely abandoned large-scale heroin cultivation, shifting their focus to fentanyl production instead. Meanwhile, many of the chemical precursors flow out of China. Most packages leaving warehouses there are ordinary: chargers, clothes, dog food. But hidden among them are countless small shipments of fentanyl ingredients. To streamline transport, shipping companies combine these smaller parcels into larger master cartons, a standard in global trade that cuts costs by bundling many deliveries into one big box. These cartons are stacked onto pallets with other bulk shipments, with the tiny fentanyl package buried inside. From there, the load is often placed on a plane, bound for its true destination, the United States. Global online shopping has exploded in recent years, and fentanyl smugglers are taking advantage of it by slipping their shipments into the massive stream of international parcels. They exploit a particular US loophole known as the de minimis rule. Introduced in the 1930s, this regulation allows packages addressed to private individuals and valued under a certain threshold to bypass customs entirely. No duties, and only minimal inspections. Many countries have similar policies. In the European Union, for example, the limit is 150 euros, with anything above subject to tax. The United States, however, has one of the most generous thresholds worldwide. In 2016, the US raised its limit from $200 to $800. Before that change, roughly 134 million packages entered the country each year through this system. By 2024, that figure had skyrocketed to nearly 1.44 billion, a surge fueled not only by global trade growth, but also by the duty-free appeal. About 90% of all imports now fall under the de minimis exemption. Until April 2025, most of these packages originated in China, often shipped by air. When one lands at LAX, its first stop is a customs warehouse. Inspecting every parcel would be impossible, so officers rely on spot checks. Specially trained dogs are brought in to sniff out shipments suspected of containing fentanyl precursors. Sometimes it's the weight of a package that raises red flags. If it doesn't match its description, customs pulls it aside for inspection. Suspicious parcels are scanned with advanced machines, opened by hand, and in some cases, tested in an on-site chemical lab. Occasionally, officers even attach electronic trackers to follow a package's journey. But with the overwhelming flood of shipments, only a tiny fraction are ever checked. Most sail through, including ours. Cleared for entry, the master carton is broken down at a distribution center, where smaller parcels are sorted by destination. From there, regular U.S. delivery companies take over. Our package still has distance to cover. Its next stop is Mexico. The vast majority of illicit fentanyl is produced there, but first, shipments are sent to U.S. addresses near the Mexican border. At this stage, a new link in the supply chain steps in. One address belongs to an elderly man. Since some goods can't be mailed directly into Mexico, he provides a workaround, personally carrying packages across the border for a fee. For many in the region, this type of cross-border side hustle is a common way to make extra cash. In Mexico, people can have their parcels sent to his U.S. address. From there, he loads them into his car and drives across the border. Today, a few boxes sit in his trunk. One of them is our package from China. The border crossing works much like an airport. Small parcels are rarely inspected, and that's exactly what the cartels rely on. The driver looks harmless, an ordinary man with nothing to hide. He has no idea what's inside the package. Customs waves him through without a second glance. On the other side, the boxes are dropped at a distribution center in Sinaloa. Local freight companies then deliver them to the addresses provided by their Mexican customers. For our package, that journey ends at a hidden drug lab, where, for the very first time, it's finally opened. The Sinaloa cartel is among the world's most powerful and violent criminal groups. With the fentanyl boom, they've largely abandoned heroin and gone all in on synthetic opioids. Inside an unremarkable house, two teenagers work in a makeshift lab, following a step-by-step guide to produce fentanyl. They're not trained chemists. They simply open the package from China and begin preparing a new batch. It has become routine. The method rarely changes, the equipment is basic, and a single kilo can be processed into tens of thousands of doses. Once packaged, the finished product heads back toward the United States by any means the traffickers can find. Hidden on people, mixed with ordinary cargo, concealed inside clothing or toys, even smuggled in animals. The smugglers are banking on the reality that authorities cannot inspect every person or parcel. Minutes from the crossing, a driver grows anxious as officers and drug-sniffing dogs move down the line of cars. Just when tension spikes, the agents step aside, the dog is given a break, and the stash goes unnoticed. The driver exhales, his cargo undetected.